Here we are at Obscenic Arts Studios in Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, the center of the universe. We're presently working on the new Red Dragon Cartel record called Patina. And it all started when we got off the road. We did some shows in Japan. Then we all sort of came here to the ranch and started hashing out Jake's ideas in a room as a band. We just got together and started jamming on it. Because the first album had so many guest singers and guest drummers and guest blah blah blah, he wanted it to be an organic band, almost like a 70s style band approach, where you're in one room and you're jamming on the parts, and then if an idea strikes him, immediately he could just turn to the drummer and say, try this on the kick and the snare, and it grows organically in the room, feeding off each other, and as opposed to, oh, this is what I was thinking, oh, email it to me, and you're not even in the same cities most of the time, and you know, that may work for some people, but it doesn't work for us in this situation. Or what we were setting out to do is more organic, old school band, 4 guys, every song, same drummer, same bass player, consistency, to create a Red Dragon Cartel sound, which is Jake's sound. Then we had some contractual negotiations that we had to go through with the label, and then once those were resolved, we recommenced writing. And that was probably the end of 2016. We started writing again. And we wrote for about probably 14 weeks, getting the songs to where Jake was happy and they were what was going on in Jake's head, and trying to capture what Jake was feeling and where his head was at and his vibe at the moment. So all those parts sort of morphed into what he was envisioning. And then we started the recording process. Phil Varone from Saigon Kick and Skid Row, and a great drummer, came in at the end of the writing process and laid down some amazing drum tracks. And then once the drum tracks were laid down, then I got to lay down my bass parts. And then we began the journey of guitars. Jake has a multitude of vintage guitars and vintage heads and vintage pedals.
Ah, the guitar arsenal. Yes, it's well, for the first time in my career, I have a wide choice of guitars. It's always been just me and the Charvel on all the Aussie, all the Badlands, and my solo stuff. It's just been my guitar, and now I've expanded. I have a friend who can afford it.
That we're going through, and every part of every song, finding the right blend, which guitar with which head with which pedal to maximize each section sonically. Like I said, what's going on in his head.
So yeah, we have 56 Gretsch, 58 TV Special, I think it's early 60s Monza, 68 Paisley, 65 335, and a whole slew of other ones that my friend Dave is loaning me. And so it's really cool, because now I can find the specific guitar for a specific part, so everything sounds just right. And that's one of the reasons it's taking longer to do this record. As I said before, it was always just me and the Charvel. Whether it was the best instrument or not for the particular track, it's what I played, and so I didn't have any options. Now options are... what I'm trying to say is my friend Dave, he's at fault for why this record's taking so long. That's what I'm saying.
And then once we're done with guitars, Darren Smith, the singer in the band, will come down from Toronto and do his thing, lay down his vocals, and then it's off to Max Norman, who's going to mix the whole journey for us, and we're so excited, so every step of the way.
We have one song where it's definitely 69 Les Paul, and we have another song where it's absolutely 56 Gretsch. And those are two different animals, but there's going to be a wide variety of sounds and songs on this. Not to scare anybody, but it's just so much more interesting for me if I can blend, say, surf guitar with a hard rock style to it, and jazz. We're throwing all kinds of stuff on this record.
Yeah, these songs, everything is built around, stems from, grows off Jake's guitar playing. It drives everything. It's the cornerstone, the foundation of the band, of the CD, as it should be. I think a lot of people are going to be very happily pleased when they hear it. It's a special record, and the licks are great, and it's where he is right now in his brain, guitar-wise and writing-wise. And
it's going to be an interesting record. Whether or not anybody likes it is up for debate. But it's going to be interesting. You're not going to just listen to one or two tracks and say, I know what the rest is like, because you don't.
This CD has elements of Jake. There's stuff that's Badlands vibe, there's stuff that's Ozzy vibe, there's some curveballs that kind of like you wouldn't expect from him, but he's such a diverse musician that to not let those other colors and elements of his playing come through would be sad and a sin. So we wanted to bring some of those elements into it, spots on the other songs. And then, you know, there's always the great licks that Jake is known for, the high wires, those kind of just bark at the moon licks that everybody knows and loves him for it. So to have a record that doesn't have that stuff on it would be kind of sad as well. So we try to capture all of it, you know, in one CD.
For you, what does the song have to have in order to make it on this record?
For it to make it on this record, well, yeah, it could be a couple of. It has to be interesting for me. It can't, and it's not to say that everything on the record is wacko and throwing shit in there just to be interesting. It's never that. It's why not try this, and if it works, it works, and it doesn't. But for it to make there are songs where it just has a good groove, and I like it. It's a groove. It's not too far off the beaten path, but I like throwing shit in there. I rarely write anything where you have part A, part B, part A, part B, solo over part A, end with part B, because that's just boring to me. So I like to throw stuff in there just to get it off the track every once in a while, and for me and for hopefully people listening to it, it's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But it's a nice one. It's a nice, like, oh God, what's he doing there? No, it's like, oh, wow, it just took off over here. That's basically what it takes to make it on this record, I think. Because we've had other songs that were, but they were like what everybody else does. And if that's what you want, there's plenty of bands doing that. I just want to offer something a little more exciting.